Don't piss me off. Don't fucking piss me off. I'm already almost fucking there because I had to leave a field trip early to go to fucking work. So you're telling me that I go to a fucking drive-thru that I've never fucking been at before, ask for a certain item that requires an ID for a purchase. I hand her my ID as I ask for it. I don't even make her ask for my ID. I'm making your job easy. Well, apparently I made it too fucking easy because I ask for what I want and she says, okay, how you paying? I said, cash? She said, okay. Bitch, how much is it? Whenever I asked her how much it was, in a very calm, collected way, she rolls her fucking eyes at me and shuts the window to go and ring it up. Because that's your job! Don't piss me off.
Something incredible has happened to redheads and gingers. I don't know if you know, but many people of the black community have came out and said that they see redheads and gingers aligned with many of the genetic features and the characteristics of black women. This has really brought up such an important issue because many of these gorgeous women are coming forward and saying that they can identify that something is off with the way that redheads are treated by many people in the white community. And this is something difficult thing to talk about because it's not racism. I don't know where that falls, but being born with red hair and super pale skin but not feeling accepted is a really, really tough spot to be in. You get bullied from a young age, you're made to believe it's horrible, people insult you without even meaning to. Some of the things that people have said to me because I have ginger hair growing up has been the most unhinged experience of my life. I once met a woman who came up to me and she said, I like your ginger hair, but honestly my biggest fear when I was pregnant was that I was going to give birth to a ginger baby, and I didn't know what to say, and I just was like, okay. She's like, and I'm really sorry for saying this. She was like, but I actually think I would prefer a child with a disability than red hair. And that is genuinely, hand on heart, what someone has said to me. That is just honestly not even the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the type of comments that you're experiencing when you're growing up with red hair. So for people in the black community to come out and call out that something is not right in the way that people with red hair are treated, and to call out the fact that something is off, is the best thing that could happen.
Hey Black and Ginger fam, I don't know about you, but I am not the same person now than I was 3 weeks ago. This whole experience has been absolutely life-changing in ways that are actually kind of hard to describe. This has healed aspects of my childhood. This has, I feel like, given me a path forward. I feel like I have something meaningful to tap into, you know, during a time in American history where it seems like everything is going every which way but the right way. And so to be tapped into other people who are really moving forward and trying to mobilize and do good things in this world just means so much to me. And I've also made just truly the most amazing friends, the most amazing aunties and uncles and cousins that are like literally checking in on me and I'm checking in on them on the daily. Like, that's really special. And then, you know, one more superficial thing. Can we talk about like my hair? Since all of this popped off, I have been watching lives hosted by the aunties and they're like, girl, get some shea butter in your hair, right? Get some actual good products for your hair. And listen, I've been like lazy. I didn't even style this, but like, look at how healthy she is. She's never been this healthy. Thanks, aunties. Love you.
Us redheads do not think we're actually or literally black. Let's just start off with that. We all own a mirror. And we understand we are the whitest of the white. This trend was not started by gingers. It was started by one black woman when other members of the black community got on board with it. We saw it, we appreciate the inclusion, and all of us, including myself, have just been making fun videos. I feel like it's been a fun time from both sides. Now, that is to say that if you are a part of the black community and you want no part of this, you think this is the stupidest thing ever, you're against it, that's okay too. The black community owes us nothing because while we may have some beautiful locks of hair, we are still, in fact, for 99% of us, we were on board with it and was like, yeah, we are black, let's go. And again, it wasn't about actually being black. It was about being included into a community that we already felt included into and comfortable with. And as I said, the black community owes us nothing. So for them to welcome us with open arms felt very healing to a lot of us, but also validating at the same time. And I do know that there has been a few videos that were racist and not okay. But for the bulk of them, for the bulk of us, we've all just been excited and happy to be here. And I'm serious. I will come to a cookout. You don't want me to bring any food, but I'll bring the booze. And for the who keep having comments warning of us of the Black community like we've never interacted with them in our lives, be fucking for real. It's 2025. The reason we were so quick to switch sides, our bags were already packed. We were ready to go. I feel safer in a room or a crowd of Black people than I will ever feel in a room of white people, and that is sad. I can't speak for all gingers, but for this one, the thought of them flipping the script or changing things or all of those things using us, that's never been a thought, because that's the experience that we've had with not Black people. We still know our stance. I will still walk into a room and have white privilege. I won't be scared when a police officer pulls me over. The maternal mortality rate for gingers is not going to change. We are all having a fun time, but I also know that there's very real things at play. And that's why I don't get upset when someone in the Black community is completely not okay with this. Why would you be? How many times has us acted like we were allies and then flipped the script? And as redheads, we have to be careful about the jokes we make. And while some of the things are funny and it's a great time, there is a very real issue underlying all of this. And it's an issue that us white people started.
Someone said they hate me because I'm Black. Okay, I have to talk about this comment and the miniature stroke it gave me, because while it's a funny joke and I get it a lot, I only usually get it from certain family members. That's because if you don't know, I come from a mixed race family. And I am often the butt of the joke because of that. Like, my nickname is Cat because of Cat Williams skit, or he's like, whose goddamn white baby is that? Like, I cannot go to a family barbecue, cookout, gathering of any kind of family event without people, like, if they don't know me, people assuming that I'm someone's random snow bunny. It's also because most people who are a quarter mixed, like, look a lot darker than I do, at least. But I am white. I am, what does he say? From the mountains of Caucasus. I am a rice-skinned, not light-skinned. I'm as white gets, okay? I am a ginger. I actually have a genetic reason why I can't process melanin at all. Like, there is no such thing. I'm either white or I'm red from a sunburn. That's all you get. So it's a joke. It is a joke within the family that they make all of the time. And here's the thing, is they're the only ones that have ever made that joke. And the few family members, and I don't mind my family seeing my TikTok, right? But the few family members that make those jokes, I know their TikToks, except for one in particular, which is my biological grandfather, who is a Black man, who, like, bro, he refuses to accept that I look like this, okay? In his head, I am the color of my shirt. You cannot convince him otherwise. He will look me dead in my face and my pasty, cum rag looking self, and will insist on the Blackness, okay? So when I saw this comment from an account I didn't recognize with a very basic photo for the profile picture, which no offense to you, but like when it's little, all it looks like is like a little dot. So I immediately thought that my grandfather had found my TikTok, because he's been trying for a while, and I've made sure to hide it from him because I talk about some very inappropriate things on here. That video is literally me going over my corn search history. So the idea of him seeing this, because he makes this exact comment on so much shit on other, platforms where I do, like, he is on, but I've been trying so hard to make sure he doesn't get on here. So the way I read this, and like my heart sank to my stomach, because once again, he says this kind of crap all the time. Like, also, the way he is one of those, he will respond to comments too. So, like, I was so scared that I was about to see this username 50 times and him responding to comments. Like, one time I had posted this photo when I had the reunion situation, not high school reunion, it was reunion for dance and stuff. And I was in a picture with two other girls that I know. Both of them had like extreme tan addictions, which is important to the context to this. But I aged better than them. And that's not me bragging. That's not me saying I age, amazing or anything. It's because they both had extreme tan addictions. They've been tanning since they were like 7, which damages your skin. Okay. I don't think they even know what sunblock is. That's why they didn't age so well. But in the comments, my biological grandfather, on every single freaking comment of people being like, oh, what's your skincare routine? Oh, you aged amazing. He went into every single comment and responded and was like, it's because Black doesn't crack. That's my grandchild. That's not any fancy moisturizer. That's my genetics, because Black doesn't crack. And I'm like, What do I even say to that? I just had to let him do it. Okay, that's why I cannot let him on here, because it's just gonna be havoc. So now you understand why this silly comment gave me a heart attack for like 10 minutes, okay? Especially because I was still waking up when I saw it this morning, and I was like, oh God, I immediately thought he had found my TikTok, okay? So I appreciate all the silly banter comments, but the way you gave me a heart attack, man.
My neighbor is of that generation where everybody was racist. But let me tell you, he was in a league of his own. Still is. He'll come up he's nasty ass old man. Like, he was in Vietnam. I bet he loved every damn minute of it. But nasty. He told me one day, he said, Vince, you a lucky man. I said, why you say that? He said, because every time I see your wife out here cutting grass, I go, wow, Vince is a lucky man to have those big titties to snuggle up to at night. Man, had me Googling what the exact terms are for elder abuse. But anyway, this racist ass old man, he had to have some kind of major surgery. I didn't ask no questions. But now he back home, and I find it so ironic that this very racist generation is being forced to deal with this. Every at-home nurse is a black lady. 100%. That is the first minority to have ever been inside of his house. I mean, unless you count Italians as minorities, which he does. You got a black authority figure to deal with. Won't God do it? Got him right at the finish line and said, you sure you racist? You want to live? Or are you racist?
I just made a salad.
This is my daughter. As you can see, she's also a redhead. Now,
There's a lot of animals there, and it has,
I just want to say thank you
We got strawberries
for her,
and
because my little 8-year-old daughter now, because of this movement that's happening, not just a trend, this is a movement, now doesn't have to grow up the same way I did. Doesn't have to grow up getting made fun of, because now she's accepted in a family. You know, there's been people that are saying that this is our moment as redheads and that we need to take advantage of it. I think this is bigger than a moment. This is bigger than a trend. This is a movement. This is a healing. This is two communities. This is one community, actually. This is one community that is taking a group of people and creating a community. Accepting a small population of the world into their community. Redheads or gingers take up 1% to 2% of the world population. And we have never had a community until now. That makes me happy. Not only as a redhead myself, but it makes me happy for my daughter, for how she's going to grow up and the perspective that she's going to have. And hopefully, when she gets to that age in high school or middle school or whatever that time is, when having red hair is not cute and gorgeous and adorable, and when it's made fun of, this movement will have changed that. So all my cousins out there, thank you. Thank you for me, and thank you for her.
Are we still black? Are gingers still black? Cause I'm black and I'm proud, baby. I don't give a fuck what people say. That was last week, 2 weeks ago. Gingers are still black. We're black now, black then, black forever, man. Gingers. Are we still black? Are gingers still black? Cause I'm black and I'm proud, baby. I don't give a fuck what people say. That was last week, 2 weeks ago. Gingers are still black. We're black now, black then, black forever, man. Gingers.
She said redheads, gingers are black, okay? And it did not matter to us that she was not talking about culture. It did not really matter that she was talking about having a common ancestor. That is an added layer of beauty, for sure. But for us, we've been ready to leave. Okay? You said that, and no sooner were the words out of your mouth than we had, divorce papers were served and we were halfway down the block. I cannot stress enough how stupid life is for no reason sometimes for redheads. Like, most of the time, people just, you're just another person, right? You're just another white guy. But then there's handfuls of people that you run into like landmines, and they have a very strong opinion about your existence. Okay? Half of them will fetishize you, which I don't know. I don't get a lot of that personally, but it has happened, right? I've had people saying, oh, they love my hair, and then they touch me. They touch my hair. That happens even to me. I have the sexual appeal of a big toe with a yeast infection. Okay? So if that's happening to me, I know that redheaded women are dealing with just dog-ass men so much all the time. And on the other side of that, you've got people who just can't not bring up that you're a redhead. It's like the scene from Austin Powers when he's like, moly, 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 moly. It's like that. It feels like that. And that's before we even get into South Park. Like, the same jokes for 20 years, never once realizing that the episode was making fun of people like that. People who would do what you've done for 2 decades. And just for me, I don't like the term ginger. Okay? Now, that's because the term didn't exist in my world until after that episode. And so everybody who used it was using it as like a pejorative. Now, for younger people, that may not be so true. It's been so widespread in the common lexicon that it's just interchangeable with redhead. And that's fine, I guess, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people, pushing 30 or in their 30s who are redheaded don't like that term either. And you should know too about redheads is that, like, in general, we are just fiery people. Like, don't ever give a redhead an ultimatum, because they're never going to pick the smart decision. Okay? When we come up against injustice, we don't call the manager, all right? We're going to burn the store down, right? Like, we're down. We're so down for whatever the cause is. And redheads, if you're watching this, please remember, I know this is fun right now. I know you guys are trying to run with this, and some of you are being just so great with it. Please be respectful. Please be mindful that you are white. Your skin is white. You carry that privilege, no matter what TikTok says, okay? Be mindful, be respectful, because at some point, this fun is going to be over. This discourse is going to end, and it would be great if people, non-white people, could be like, ugh, white people. Not redheads, though. You know? Like, I think that's a good target to be trying to hit right now. So, let's aim for it.
What we are witnessing here isn't just a trend. It's a cultural moment that's unearthing a lot more than people expected. On the surface, it looks like a playful content. Redheads saying they are basically black after support from some members of the black community. But underneath that, there is deep emotion, long-standing pain, historical complexity, and an unexpected kind of solidarity that deserves our attention. First, let's establish something. Redheads are not claiming blackness in the literal sense. That is clear, and is an important distinction. What is being expressed is something more emotion, for communal, a sense of kinship, an unexpected resonance between two marginalized identities and that have often been misunderstood, ridiculed, or left out of the mainstream. Many redheads, particularly women, are coming forward saying that for the first time in their lives they feel seen, and not by the communities they expected to be seen by, but the black community. And that is where things get really interesting, because what does it say when an entire demographic, in this case ginger, feels more affirmed, more emotional safe, and more embraced by black culture than their own predominantly white social environment? Let's talk about what redheads go through. And no, this isn't to create a competition of pain or marginalization. It's to highlight a shared understanding of being ordained. Real heads have long been bullied, mocked, outraged, and hyper-visible in a way that they couldn't control. From being called carrot top in grade school to hearing grown adults joke about their genetic being a mistake, they have endured decades of microaggressions, insults, and even fears projected onto them, and often without support. One redhead in the discussion recalled a woman telling her she did rather have a child with a disability than one with redhead. That is not just offhand Christianity. That is a window into how deeply people can internalize negativity, stereotypes, and pass them on without thinking. It's the kind of experience that chips away at a person's sense of worth over time, especially when no one else is calling it. And yet, in recent weeks, members of the black community, particularly black women, have noticed something familiar in redhead features: tightened coils, undertones in the skin, certain facial structures. But more than that, they identified a shared experience: being fertilized, being excluded, being misunderstood. There is an intuitive recognition of pain, of being judged before being known, and of having your beauty or humanity debated publicly. Now, we need to be very clear. These communities are not identical, nor are they the struggles. The systemic weight that comes with black identity, the history of slavery, colonization, police brutality, structural racism cannot be compared to redhead experience. But what can we be acknowledged is that both groups know what it feels like to be targets of casual routinity, to have people reduce them to stereotypes, and to have those stereotypes shape their social standing. And that is why this unexpected alliance feels powerful, not because it erases difference, but because it recognizes shared emotional territory. Many redheads says they feel more safe in black spaces than they do in white ones. That is a huge statement. It flips the script on the social narrative that says white people inherently belong in predominantly white spaces. These gingers are saying, no, actually, the kindness, the care, the realness, I'm finding that elsewhere. It's also important to know that much of this movement started within the black community. It wasn't redheads forcing themselves into black culture. It was black women opening the door, saying you look like us, and offering a moment of validation to people who really hear that. The videos that followed, the memes, the jokes, they wasn't mockery. They were a kind of celebration, a creative exchange of mutual admiration. But of course, as within any cultural moment that gains momentum online, the nuisance began to slip away. Some redheads started making jokes that vowed too close to appropriation. Others forgot the deeper content and just ran with the aesthetics. And some members of the black community pushed back, saying, wait a minute, we didn't invite this for laughs, we were acknowledging something real. The tension that is vile, the black community doesn't own anyone inclusion, and especially not at the expense of their own cultural safety. For centuries, black people have had to watch as their styles, language, and essence get borrowed or modified. So when something as sensitive as racial kingship gets turned into a meme, there is reason to be cautious. But what is remarkable here is how many redheads have responded with self-awareness. They are saying, we get it, we are not trying to take anything, we are just grateful someone saw us. And many are using this moment to reflect on their own whiteness, their own privilege, and their own that intersect with the marginalization as redheads. That is a powerful dual awareness, because yes, a redhead might feel isolated and bullied for their hair, but they are still white. They still walk through the world with systemic advantage. They hasn't followed in stores. They don't fear police stops. Their resume doesn't get filtered out because they have their names. And many of the redheads engaging in this discourse are owing that they are not pretending to be oppressed in the same way. They are simply saying, the way we have been treated within whiteness has been brutal, and it's made us rethink who we actually feel aligned with. Now let's take a moment to talk about hair, because in both black and red hair culture, hair is scared. For black women, it's a site of resiliency, creativity, heritage, and pride, and also sadly a target of discrimination. For redhead, their hair often becomes the first thing people see and comment on, often negatively. It's their defining future, whether they want it to be or not. So when black aunties are going live and telling ginger girls to get their shea butters and love their cause, that is not just skincare advice, that is cross-cultural nurturing. That is community. And if that is not a blueprint for how solidarity can look, I don't know what it is. So what do we take from all this? First, that identity is complicated. It's not just about race or hair color or who your ancestors were. It's about how the world treats you because of those things and how you respond. Second, that solidarity doesn't require sameness. The redhead black girl connection isn't about collapsing two groups into one. It's about saying, I see you, I see your struggle, and even though we are different, I recognize something in you that I have felt too. And third, and this is critical. Real community allows for critical. Some people in the black community have said they are uncomfortable with this trend, that it needs to be respected. You can't force connection where it's not wanted. Solidarity has to be mutual, not performative. At the end of the day, what is happening between these two groups, the gingers and the antis, the coys and the cores, is tender, is complex, and is not something the algorithm can fully capture. But if we lean into the nuisance instead of the noise, there is real healing on both sides. Alright, if you made it this far, thank you for sitting in this space with me and unpacking something that is way more than just hair and hashtags. If this resonated with you, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next conversation. Until next time, take care of yourself and take care of each other.